Everyone, this is Keesha.
And this is Vanessa. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes, thank you. And we're glad you could be here. And today we're going to be talking about why caregivers need a strong support system and a care team.
Last week, we're discussing why Dear Encourager exists. I spoke a little bit about why a support system was important when I was discussing my testimony about caring for my mother. Tonight, we're going to dive into why it's essential and necessary to have a support system and a care team. A lot of times, those two intertwine, and that's fine. They can be one and the same, long as you have a great support system, someone helping you.
Because I realized that I guess I was a handful because my husband had to have a care team. My mom had to come and help him out when he was caring for me. And I'm really thankful because, yeah, he did need help when he was dealing with me. 6 months. She came and helped, and then she came back some more. It was really needed. As also, just being a person and being a health professional, I saw how caregivers do need to have that team to help them when they're dealing with their actual family members.
Exactly. Caregiving is sacred, no matter if you're working and helping your family member or if it's outside of, in the community. It's something that we take on and we hold very dear. And with that comes a lot of emotions that we carry along. We carry our own emotions. We carry the emotions of the people we're caring for. And if we don't have someone to release those emotions to help us step back from time to time, it can become very overwhelming. And your caregiver can suffer from depression, anxiety. We definitely know it's a stressful type of job, no matter what the relationship is. You can be a mother caring for your child. You can be, as I was, a child caring for a parent. You can be a spouse caring for your loved one. But we know all of those relationships have their own dynamics in themselves. So add in another layer of having to care for someone who's sick, then you have more stressors. And when you don't have someone to help you in that realm, then you suffer and the person you care for suffers, and it can cause burnout. And a lot of times the caregiver, I know for me, a lot of times I would be in survival mode. A lot of times I didn't even know I was in survival mode. It was just, and let me talk about survival mode. That's when you're just going. You're not stopping. You're going, you're going, you're going. You're trying to do everything. Um, and you don't see a way out. And that's because you haven't looked into, for yourself, you don't have a way out because you're stretched thin, but you haven't looked over and saw who's had their hand out to help you. And in that situation, you 9 times out of 10 lose yourself. You don't look the same. And I could mean physically, but I mean, you aren't that same person that you once were when you first started caring for that person. I know, Keisha, do you think that Duran at times was not the same person that he was in the beginning because his role had changed and there was a lot of different dynamics in your relationship now that he was not only your husband, but he was your main caregiver?
Yeah, I saw some differences in him. Sometimes, I would wonder if he was showing signs of resentment because, there were some things that he wasn't used to doing that he did have to do. Uh, you know, Domestic roles, not to say that he hadn't done domestic roles before, but there were added domestic roles in addition to having to work. Then he had to go and take children to these extracurricular activities and cooking and ironing and clothing and doing different things for me, and there were very limited times that he could go do the things that he wanted to do because he is a very athletic person. He loved to go to the gym and go work out, and it just seems like at the end of the day there were very limited moments for him to go and do those things because quite honestly, in the beginning, I would be like, "Where are you going? How dare you say you're going to the gym? Because I need
Mhm,
you to do this, and I need you to
mhm,
do that. And did you do this for this and all of this?" And as I think about it now, you know, he needed to go do those things, and I
mhm,
kept it from him. Um, yeah, I could see that he could have probably should have been resentful for not being able to go because he needed those moments because that was important to him. That was a way where he found balance. So yeah, I could see that there was now.
and resentment isn't always a bad thing, and we always see it, and the reason I say that is because we resent the situation, not does and my resentment towards you or the situation doesn't mean that I don't love you, doesn't take away how I do love you, but I do resent the fact that I can't play basketball how I used to, can't go out and do all the things that I used to because this is a change.
Mhm.
And we resent. Most of us don't like change. Like we fight it tooth and nail. So when we resent something, it's not always, it's almost like that's one of the phases that we have to go through. And that's because it's a loss. It's a loss of the relationship that we had. It's a loss of the lifestyle that we had. And it's okay to go through that phase of resentment. It's quite natural. And you resenting or him resenting, because I'm sure, as you said, you were resenting. You supposed to be here with me. What you doing going to the gym?
Why you leaving him? You leaving me by myself? I don't want to be in this bed and you going and having fun. How
Yes,
dare
it's
you
on.
have fun?
So
Nobody's
in
supposed to have
those
fun.
times,
I'm not happy, so nobody else supposed to be happy.
right, exactly. Those are true moments. And not all of this is cookies, cake, and ice cream with, and rainbows. It's not. There's some
Mhm.
uglies dealing with your illness. There's some uglies dealing with caregiving. So that's a part of life. But that's why it's important to have the support system. Because on those times where you didn't feel left out, that other person could come in and you guys could do something, come help you where you didn't feel like you were left. And that's a true feeling, that you feel like you're left out, you're left alone, that you can't do the things, if he was out playing basketball, I know the Keesha was out shopping, you know. And how dare he be able to do the fun thing that he gets to do and I can't do it. So those are real examples of life, and
Right.
life of a caregiver, life of a person with a illness who is on this journey. So that is why it's vital to have a support system, to have a time where you can say, hey, I need a break. Because when you don't take those breaks, that's when burnout happens. That's
Mhm.
when you have caregiver fatigue. And that's when we become isolated. I know I would isolate myself a lot of times. And isolation for people looks different. And I didn't say take a step back. I said isolate. I wouldn't talk to people. Wouldn't I wouldn't do anything. I would go in my room and just shut down. And it wasn't a healthy shutdown. We all can retreat and take a breather, but it is not good to isolate, because when you isolate, that's when a lot of darkness can happen. I thank God for him. And I thank God for the natural gift that he gave me, counseling. That's just who I've always been and didn't know. When you're younger and you're helping and you're always people coming in you talk to you, it was just a gift he gave me. And I know that's the thing that helped me through those dark moments, because I had them. I had them when I just didn't like life, you know, but it was also because I did not use my support system. And the reason why, cultural. And it's a true thing, I was brought up, I'm a Gen X. So you take care of your elders. You make that sacrifice. If I chose to question it, how dare I? How dare I question what I was supposed to do? So I never resented it, but I never gave myself permission to ask for help. Now, when
Mhm.
my brother would offer it, times I would turn it down. But a lot of times when he knew, he'll be very adamant and he would just do it. And I thank God for that. because if not, you know, I don't know what it would have looked like on some days. Also, my sister would help me. Um, Anthony would help me, but a lot of times I wouldn't allow people to help me because I felt it was my duty. And that's what we want to step away from. And that's why it's important before you get started. When you know that, you know what, I'm going to be a caregiver, I need you guys to take out a to-do list and make it happen. And your to-do list is going to list of a care team. Who's on it? What breaks am I going to take? When am I going to take these breaks? And we need them. Whether it's an hour weekly that you take a small break. I need to get away. And I'm talking about away off. Like I'm shutting down. Like I'm going to do something totally for me. But you also need to do something daily. Is it taking 15, 20 minutes to meditate, to pray, to go out and just soak up some sun, to do something for you? You need to do that daily. Then weekly, you need to do something. Monthly, you need to do something. Quarterly, you need to do something. You need to do something for you. And that is why it's important to have that support system, because they're going to allow you that time to do it. Because if you're the sole caregiver, you're not going to allow yourself that time. You're not going to, because who am I to take a break when this person needs me? They need me. I don't, I'm okay. I'm healthy. I'm this, I'm that. So we don't allow ourselves the opportunity to recharge. And you know the old saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. How am I going to pour into you when I have nothing? And that's what we need to make sure that we're ensuring that we're allowing others to pour into us so we can continue to pour into that person that we're caring for. Keesha, do you know of some ways, or do you remember some things that Deron would do when he was probably at that breaking point?
Girl, you're not gonna get me on here talking about what that man would do when he was close to his breaking point.
But you know what? Hold on. That's real soul. Everything is not nice. Everything is not nice. We're going to have those arguments. I'm going to tell you, Keisha, that, you know what? You need to do this, that, and the other. I done did X, Y, Z. When we're at the breaking points, everything is not nice. And that's okay.
Right.
We gotta be real. I'm sure there were some arguments. I didn't argue with my mama because once again, I'm old school. She might have well got up out that bed and, got a switch or
Yes.
something.
Because Gen Xers, we believe in we're grown, but we not mama grown.
Right. Right.
That is a difference. That's something that I have learned. I had a conversation with someone on the Facebook about that. We are grown, but we are not mama and daddy grown.
No.
There is still a line that we don't cross in our
Yeah.
grownness, okay?
Right.
And if y'all want to live and like they say, stay alive and not be unalive, y'all better learn the value of mama grown and daddy grown, okay? My free advice to y'all. But
Right.
I gonna tell y'all exactly what my husband may have said or not said. But what I'm gonna say is that he did have moments of anger, and there were some times where he did hurt my feelings, and there were also times where he did make me have thoughts of unaliving him. But I'm just gonna keep it real. But the whole point still is, as you still look back, I now see the value of his needing the time to himself. I also see the value of identifying when even though I was sick, I wasn't that sick where I shouldn't have been able to say, you need some help. You need to step away from me. Because not just because I'm a nurse, but because of the fact that I'm a human being and I know when somebody's tired.
Right.
And I had my times in my illness when I was selfish, when I was trying to make it all about me instead of trying to look out and think about this is someone who is taking a moment to show signs of love and caring for you to make sure that I'm okay and making sure that I'm taking these 19 to 22 meds a day in the morning. I forgot how many in the middle of the day, and then at that time it was like 9 at night, and making sure that I'm eating and making sure that I'm doing all these things, plus trying to go to work and dealing with the children and all the things that he had to do. Even though, yes, my mama was here, but he was still trying to do all those things to make sure that I stayed alive, in addition to trying to just make it, you know? So I can understand his frustration, because in his mind, I know he's probably saying, "You are one selfish woman because you see I'm struggling, and here you are just coming and you just at me, and you see I'm tired." So I get it now. I didn't get it then.
Mhm.
And the 50-year-old Keisha is different from the not 50-year-old Keisha. I ain't gonna try to do math right now because I struggle with math. But I, I can see that now. And I think that's the other part of Dear Encourager, where we are trying to teach one
Yes.
another the sides that, okay, we got to be here for each other. We got to try not to be selfish, and we have to make sure we understand that we love each other, and
Mhm.
we are trying to help each other along the way, and we're all making sacrifices to
Yes.
make sure
Yes.
that we can get through this time, because yes, there's an illness, and yes, we want to be here and we choose to stay alive as we're being health warriors, but the caregivers are choosing to be here with those of us who have these illnesses, to make sure that we can remain alive and we get the things that we need, and so that we can have the best quality of life that we can have. And we all should be thankful for that,
Yes.
and know that we're walking together with the goal of health, happiness, love, commitment, and all those things. I ain't trying to
Yes.
preach, but that's just the truth.
But you said it right there, Keisha, that we're walking together. And that is key. And that is what's important for the support system. And another thing is a lot of support, your caregivers are women. So for Duran to be a male, and we all know that it's hard for men to say that I'm struggling. It's hard for them to, even harder for them than us women to ask for help. So that's even another layer. So in those times when he was, and that's why it's very important for him to have a male, and that we got to have people that, it was great. He had your mom and your son and your daughter, but he needed someone to check in and, check in him as a male. So that was, it was great that, and then when I say support system, not just someone to come in and sit with Keisha and talk with Keisha, but someone to check me, to check in with me, say, how are you doing? How are you doing? Not how your mama doing. How you doing?
Mhm.
What do you need? And it's in a male to a male, they can have those discussions and the talk because, they talk different than us and they
Oh,
handle things
yeah.
different and they handle things different than we do. So it's vital that when we're talking about male caregivers, that they have men in their support system to help them, to give them the support that they need in those times that, because as women we don't understand because we're emotional, we're nurturing by nature. Most of us are this. So as you were saying, he was in a whole different role. Not to say that men can't be nurturing, I'm not saying that, but to the extent that they have to be as a caregiver, it's totally different. Especially now, we'll have a great husband and a father take care of that baby, get out there, but us women, and you independent, you've been doing all this thing, and now I gotta do what? I'm what? That's different. So that's why they need that support system too, and they gotta have that strong male in that support system, man. So I'm talking to you when you're out there and hey, call Rick, Tom, Tyrone and say, "Hey, man, come get me, come pick me up. You know, we gotta go. Come do this. I need you to check in with me because it's important that you have that. It's important that you take those breaks, because when we don't take those breaks, we will break, and we will
That's
break
true.
in different ways, but we
And
will
I could say
break.
he was blessed. He has 2 friends, I'm not gonna say their names, but they'll know who they are, that he can talk to, and they are the type friends that don't have a problem that'll call me and be like, "What's wrong with you?"
Checking you, right? You know what? And that's what we need because I'll call you, you'll call me. We don't have a problem checking. Most of us women, we don't have a problem. Like, girl, what's wrong with you? What you doing? But a lot of
Mhm.
men don't have that, and that's good that he does. And when you have that, you don't know how many times that those people saved you along when they were saving him because that gave him that extra release that he needed. And that's so important that we have that. That's why having a support system, that's the reason I said they can be one and the same. And a care team where your mom was part of the care team, his two friends was that support system that he needed. So that's why it's vital to have both of those because that's when we talked about joy and we need that. And being a caregiver, sometimes it is joyful. It is a blessing. It is something that, I take to heart and I am very grateful that I was able to care for my mother the way I did. But it also can be excruciating. It also can be daunting. It can be dark. It can be a lot. So it's very important that we have those people who bring us joy, who pour back into us, who check us when we are being, as you said, a brat, when we're being too much. And sometimes, we need that. So before you
And
start,
if
or
you
if you have
don't,
started, huh?
if you even if you have a family care team, we had Yoli on a couple weeks ago, and she was talking about hospice. And this is not just to say put your family member on hospice, but this is just because of the fact that I remembered she was on and she was talking about how you can get hospice and respite comes at 100% with the actual Medicare benefit. Sorry, I got to put my nursing hat on. But you can actually get respite care on hospice multiple times. I think it's like every 3 months. Sounds right. We're gonna use that. But the whole point still is, or you can just do it whenever you want. And you can work it out with certain nursing homes where you can say, "Hey, I need a break. My family needs a break. The whole care team needs a break." And they'll say, "Oh, okay, your family member can come in for 5 days," I think it is. And everybody can just go just for a little while. Okay.
Yeah,
And then you go and you get your family member, and your family member can go back home after everybody has had a moment of, okay?
that's right.
So just,
Release.
just release, okay? And that your family member just will just be going and they will be cared for those 5 days. You can have your moment. You can go on a cruise. You can just sit around in your pajamas all day if you want to. You can do whatever you want, okay? But it's 5 days. And just think about that, that you can have to yourself to just recharge for yourself. If you're married, everybody knows caring for someone puts a strain on your marriage. That's 5 days that you
And
can
it doesn't matter
have.
who you're caring for, whether it's a child, a parent, it puts a strain on it.
5
So,
days, okay?
so I want to give
And so
y'all
think
a,
about that. So that's something to look into if you had never heard about that. You can have that respite care for your family member and that's another way that you can help yourself recharge, deal with your dark moments. If you just want to sit there and read you a novel, watch you some crazy movies, watch old editions of some crazy episodes of some comedies that you used to watch back in the 80s and the 90s, just anything. You get my point. So just remember that you have opportunities to do different things. And that's why organizations like Dear Encourager are here to tell you about those type of different things that you can have that are available for you. So you don't have to go to those dark places. And I'm going to be quiet and
Exactly.
let Vanessa talk now.
No, you're good. I just wanted to leave when she talked about the 5 days. I want you guys to think about someone who doesn't have a support system. What happens? They become more irritable. They become depressed. They become forgetful. They do not sleep well. And they also can end up having an illness themselves. So that's 5 things that can happen if you don't have a support system. If you do have a support system, you have more joy. You are able to relax and rest better. You laugh more. You're able to have better routines. You're not forgetful. You're thoughtful and you remember. And last but not least, you have a better quality life and the person you care for has a better quality life. That is the reason that it is vital, it is important, it is necessary and a necessity to have a support system. That is all I have for you today. I hope that you enjoyed our segment about support system and a care team. Is there anything else for you, Keesha?
I just want to say, Deron Nix, thank you very much. I do appreciate all that you have done for me and all that you continue to do for me. And if other people are out there and you are receiving help and you have caregivers, remember to take time to say thank you. Because just remember that people are giving up their time, they're sacrificing a lot for you. So just take moments just to say thank you. So I do thank you all for watching our podcast tonight, and I hope that you continue to watch us wherever there is a podcast at Dear Encourager. I hope that you also just remember to share with your friends, tell them about all the great things that we're doing. And
We will reply to your comments, guys. Tell us how we're doing. Tell us what you
yeah,
like. Tell us what you want to hear from us. We are here for you. We created this space for you.
I am so glad that we had this discussion today. And it just seems like each week our discussions have been getting better. But I am just so excited for next week because next week, we're going to be talking to Nacelle Connor and she's going to be talking to us about healthiness and just how to deal with anxiety. And I think that's going to really help with people who are health warriors and for the caregivers. And it'll be helping us deal with anxiety and just giving us great relaxation techniques and just different ways just to manage life and the stresses that come with it. Until next week.
Next episode. Bye bye.
Bye.